Energy flow and the Earth's surface. In this subunit, we have been investigating how energy flow within Earth has affected Earth's surface over time. In this article, we will learn about geoscience processes that have shaped Earth's surface. Geo is a prefix that refers to Earth. A geoscience process is a series of events that causes changes either within Earth's layers or at Earth's surface. Understanding these processes led scientists to change their minds about Wegener's theory about continental drift. To understand geoscience processes, we will first need to learn about Earth's structure. What is below our feet? What is way below? If we could cut Earth open, we would see the crust on the outside, the mantle, the outer core, and the inner core at the center. The lithosphere is composed of both crust and a part of the upper mantle. The lithosphere behaves as a brittle and flexible, rigid solid. To answer our questions about energy flow and Earth's surface, we will focus on the lithosphere. Earth's layers. Oceanic crust, asthenosphere, crust, upper solid mantle, asthenosphere, lithosphere, continental crust, lithosphere, mantle, outer core, inner core. What is a plate? The lithosphere is divided into a dozen major and several minor plates that appear on the map shown. A single lithospheric plate can be made up of all oceanic lithosphere, the lithospheres found under the ocean, or all continental lithosphere, the lithosphere that makes up the continents. But nearly all plates are made up of a combination of both. Continental lithosphere is both less dense and thicker than oceanic lithosphere. Because of this, continental lithosphere floats higher in the mantle than oceanic lithosphere. Map. Plate boundaries. Map of lithospheric plates and their names. The arrows show whether the plates are moving apart, moving together, or sliding past each other. Plate movement. The movement of the plates over Earth's surface is a geoscience process called plate tectonics. This geoscience process is what has caused the continents to change locations over a long period of time. On average, plates move at a rate of a few centimeters per year, about the same rate that fingernails grow. Because the movement is so slow, we cannot feel it happening. But why are the plates moving? To understand this process, we will have to go deeper within Earth to its mantle. Another geoscience process is happening there. The diagram of Earth's layers that was in the Explore lesson is also shown here, and the steps involved are listed. Trench, ridge, lithosphere, trench, mantle, asthenosphere, outer core, inner core. Mantle convection drives plate tectonics. Hot material rises at mid-oceanic ridges and sinks at deep-sea trenches, which keeps the plates moving along Earth's surface. Creation of convection cells. The matter in Earth's mantle that is closest to its core becomes hot through energy transfer or conduction. Its particles move faster and spread out. This matter moves toward the surface. The matter near the top of the mantle is cooler. Its particles move much more slowly and are closer together. This cooler matter is also continually pushed up from the bottom of the mantle. When it reaches the boundary of the crust, it can't rise any higher, so it starts to move sideways. Eventually, it gets cooler and then sinks towards the bottom of the mantle again. The matter at the bottom then heats up and rises as the matter at the top begins to cool and sink towards the bottom. This cycle of matter's movement in the mantle is called a convection cell. Plate movement. Hot mantle between two convection cells rises at Earth's surface and forms a mid-ocean ridge, which also creates new ocean crust. The top part of each convection cell moves horizontally away from the mid-ocean ridge, as does the new sea floor. The matter at the far end of the convection cells moves down into the deeper mantle, dragging oceanic crust as well. This takes place at deep sea trenches. Cooler material sinks to the bottom of the mantle and moves horizontally in the direction of the ridge. This material heats up as it reaches the area inside the mantle, where there is more energy, and begins to rise once again. Stop and check. How do differences in temperature in the mantle relate to plate movement on Earth's surface? Plate boundaries. Look again at the map of plate boundaries. Plate boundaries are located at the edges where two plates meet. You can think of these areas as recycling centers between the crust and the mantle, where new matter crust rises up from the interior and other crust sinks into the mantle. Most geologic processes, including volcanoes, earthquakes, and mountain growth, take place at plate boundaries. The features found at these plate boundaries are the mid-ocean ridges, trenches, and large transform faults shown in the map of the plates. How can two plates move relative to each other? Divergent plate boundaries are located where two plates move away from each other. Convergent plate boundaries are located where two plates move toward each other. Transform plate boundaries are located where two plates slip past each other. The type of plate boundary, divergent, convergent, or transform, and the type of lithospheric crust, oceanic or continental, found on each side of a boundary determines what sort of geologic processes will occur there. A summary of the characteristics of the three types of plate boundaries is shown in the Types of Plate Boundaries table. Because plate boundaries are located at places where the Earth's crust and mantle interact, people who live near plate boundaries should know about them. Types of plate boundaries. Motion of plates. Divergent, moving away from each other. Convergent, moving towards each other. Transvergent, sliding past each other. Effect. Divergent, constructive, oceanic lithosphere is created. Convergent, destructive, oceanic lithosphere is destroyed. Transform, conservative, oceanic lithosphere not created or destroyed. Topography. Divergent, ridge or rift. Convergent, trench. Transform, no major effect. Volcanic activity. Divergent, yes. Convergent, yes. Transform, no. Diagrams. Divergent, convergent, transform. Stop and check. Describe the three types of plate boundaries. Draw a diagram to explain your answer.